coming.
Right, John Stevens, principal of Edgartown School in Edgartown, Massachusetts, Martha's Vineyard, and lovely Melinda Rabbitt DeFeo, the Farm and Garden Enrichment Coordinator, educator at the school. We have questions in regard to the broad range of the program and how it enriches the lives of the student and encourages families and parents to look into the school, actually to even reside here because of the school, as I did. How would you relay that to other school principals and teachers, and how they can enrich their the livelihood of the whole community by having a garden school program?
Well, that's a pretty involved question. Let me take a stab at it. Melinda's program has grown over the course of 7 years. It started out small, with a small garden, raised beds, with limited participation at the school among teachers and kids, and it's grown organically, no pun intended, through teachers wanting to become part of the program, wanting to participate, wanting to have their kids learn more about agriculture, more about farm to table, more about growing resources on school property and cultivating and harvesting those resources, not only on school property, but in other farms in the neighborhood. It really has picked up a lot of momentum over the course of 7 years to where we now have a huge garden, an orchard, a greenhouse. Our influence in terms of harvesting is spread to other farms in the area. We glean unwanted vegetables from other farms and take kids to do that gleaning. And then we bring back the foods, we process the foods, we freeze some, we eat other food right then and there in our cafeteria. So kids see the connection between gardening, agriculture, consumption, nutrition, healthy living, and so forth. And it's really a full cycle of education having to do with farming. It's wonderful.
I have a question. How would the gleaning, how would you organize and collaborate with the teachers to bring the students to a farm that had a crop that could be used by the students and by the cafeteria? How would you go about that?
Well, on the Vineyard, it can happen a number of ways. We do have Island Grown Initiative that runs a gleaning program, and so they have regular gleans weekly through the growing harvesting season. So sometimes we can plug in with that group, and maybe the organizer won't have adult volunteers come out, or a smaller section. Other ways I've gone straight to farms. Morning Glory, again, is very generous, and if there's something specific that I'd like to connect, like the carrot crop, to first graders who grow carrots, I can talk to the farmer and he'll let us come. He always gives us part of the crop, but we have no problem going and doing work for the farmer themselves, and doing that kind of service work, that service learning with them. We often do that with corn. Last year we picked about 8,000 ears of popcorn with 5th grade because they were studying corn, and they came in a half an hour. The 5th grade class picked 8,000 ears, which was more than a truckload. It was overflowing. And so they got to take some for themselves for their class, and then the rest of it went to the farmer, and we were just so happy to come and do the work and have that adventure out in the field. But back in the classroom, then we're going to talk about what that corn's being used for. If we didn't get it from our local farmer, where would it be coming from? What are the issues around that food, GMOs, or what non-organic practices are doing to corn and grains. And so leads us into the end of 5th grade, we start to plant grains. We have rice in our garden, and they start to learn about, how hybridization is increasing the size of the grain, so it's mostly endosperm, and they're taking the germ and the oil away, so like the wheat right out of the field isn't as nutritious as it used to be just through that process. So I think by the time they get through 8th grade, they're ready to be an advocate for healthy food, and that's really the bottom line, is to create good choice makers. Like they might be consumers, they might not be going out to become a farmer, but they're going to be able to be a good consumer and a good eater and a good advocate for what's clean. because the only way that food system issues are going to be changed is through people demand. We know consumer demand is what's making all the changes that are happening now. So if we can teach our kids starting in preschool and let them get through their education years, so that this one thing that everybody needs is food.
One
right?
thing that I think is wonderful about Edgartown School is how both the head of the cafeteria staff, your head chef, Gina, and your school nurse, Nicole Bartlett, are very on board with working wellness into the curriculum and with the garden program. And give me an example, if you would, maybe John, before you go. I know John needs to depart soon, but before you go, just how the feedback is from the staff in general, like the cafeteria and the nurse, from what they hear from parents.
Well, Gina, the cafeteria manager, and Nicole, the nurse, are, as you say, totally on board with the whole garden project. They're excited. Their excitement spreads to the rest of the staff. Meetings that they attend, parents that they have conversations with, both in school, in the Stop and Shop line, in the post office line, generate excitement. And that creates a positive momentum and really a great deal of support for the gardening program. The same is true for conversations in the school among staff. There's a lot of positive talk, which creates momentum and support for the gardening program, and it just keeps getting bigger and better. And of course, the kids pick up on the excitement from the adults as well.
Speaking of support, maybe both of you can just address this. How is it supported financially?
Melinda's program is supported 2 days a week throughout the year from the school budget. We have a private contribution from a nonprofit organization that supports Melinda for a third day, and we're looking to get more contributions to support Melinda to be a full-time employee. Even though she's a 3-day-a-week employee, she probably works 6-7 days between the time at school and the time at home, preparing, planning, and then delivering the curriculum, maintaining the garden, and so forth and so on. She's a real asset to the school.
By far, I'm completely impressed with her. First day I walked into the school and was adamant to find a house in Edgartown because of her and because of the program. So I was really impressed also with your science instructor at the 7th grade level. My son's in 7th grade. Last week I helped Melinda in the classrooms and we made sauerkraut. Every student, 40 students made sauerkraut.
Lacto-fermented sauerkraut,
Yep.
which is really, again, going back to why does that work, and working with a 7th grade science teacher who can talk about the bacteria and the process and how it goes from the bad bugs to the good bugs, and then I can come in and I talk about how the same kind of process is going on in our bodies, and getting kids to understand it's not that we don't want you to eat junk food or sugar. It's like, understand, does that give you good energy or bad energy? I always go back to that with kids because it's really simple. When you've eaten something, do you feel like you want to go do something else, or do you want to just go slump on the floor, or do you want to